Hello, everyone. My name is Christina Hupy, and I'm a manager of education programs here at GitLab. Today, we're going to go through a student contribution workshop. First, I'd like to welcome the students of TOBB University of Economics and Technology to our code contributor community. As we found out this week, Dr. Gary's software engineering class has an assignment where students are encouraged to contribute to an open source project, and we're very excited that the students reached out and are contributing to GitLab. So we put together this workshop to help guide all of the students to make their contributor journey very successful, to make sure that you have all of the things you need to get started, and then to welcome you into our community. So let's go ahead and jump in. First, we want to start by covering our GitLab Community Code of Conduct. We start with this pledge because we want to make sure that our community, our contributors, and our maintainers all make participating in our project and community a harassment-free experience for everyone. We can go ahead and take a closer look at our Code of Conduct page here, which is linked in the slide deck. And in the interest of fostering an opening and welcome environment, we want to pledge to make sure that everyone feels welcome. And so some examples are using welcoming and inclusive language, being respectful of different viewpoints and experiences, gracefully accepting constructive criticism, focusing what's best on the community, and showing empathy towards other community members. You can scroll through the page. I know you have the deck with all the links here, so you can check out our responsibilities, scope, enforcement. What I do want to point out is that while you're contributing or engaging in our community, if you have any concerns or things that you want to let us know, please feel free to reach out to us at conduct@gitlab.com. All right, let's get back to contributing. So first of all, today we'd like to talk a little bit about what open source is, what are the benefits of contributing, and we'll go through some open source projects hosted on GitLab, and then we'll show you where to get started contributing, and then talk a little bit about how to contribute. Let's talk a little bit about what is open source software. So open source software is where anyone is freely licensed to use, copy, study, and change the software in any way. The word license is important there because open source projects do actually have licenses associated with them, allowing for the distribution, maintenance, and changing of the software itself. So we're not going to get into that today, but it's just something to be aware of. With open source software, the code is openly shared and people are encouraged to voluntarily improve the design of the software. Changes made to the software are generally accepted and maintained by the code maintainers of the project. And sometimes they're volunteers, they're active community members, and sometimes they work at the company themselves, and that's the case of GitLab if the project is associated with a company. The code is generally kept in central repositories, and discussions take place between contributors, maintainers, owners, and users of the code as well. So why consider contributing to open source? Well, it's a great way to get hands-on technical experience. You have flexibility in terms of what level you want to contribute at and how much time you have, and what the skills are required in order to contribute. It's also a really great way to build your technical portfolio with a public record of your contributions, especially if you are a student in school and you don't yet have your first job coding or you don't have your first internship and you want to start building up that portfolio. We really encourage students to consider making code contributions to get started. It's also a great way to build and expand on your network with other open source contributors. We have a very active community, and I'll share some numbers in a bit here, but it's a great way to meet other developers and get involved and also experience mentorship during the process. Experience in open source can be translated to other communities, and also just the way of working together collaboratively can translate to other environments. So some tips to look for when you're considering contributing to an open source project are the availability of onboarding help. Is there a guide? Is there documentation? Is there a way to approach it and be welcomed into the community? Are there issues that are identified that are great for new contributors? Are there communication channels and forums to communicate with other community members? How responsive, how active are people watching the issues in the repositories? Is there feedback? Or, you know, are you going to be waiting for months? So those are some things to consider. And then also, is there a community code of conduct? So we shared ours at GitLab, and we really make it a very important thing for the community to be welcoming and harassment free. And so I think that that's an important thing to look for in a community as well. So we have a list of projects that are open source projects that are stored on GitLab itself. So just to be clear, GitLab itself is an open core product, but then we also host open source projects as well. So you can contribute to GitLab, or you can contribute to the many different projects that are hosted on GitLab. And we can go ahead and open up this link. And again, you have all of the links. We encourage you to take a look. And this is definitely not a comprehensive list. These are just ones that we are aware of. And you can see here we have a description, and then we have links. And the links may take you to the project itself or to the website to find more information. So for your assignment, I encourage you to take a look through this list, and you may find something that interests you to contribute to. As I mentioned, we have a really active community. I think that that's one of the most exciting things about contributing to GitLab, is that there are a lot of individuals who contribute as part of our community. We have great ways of recognizing our contributors through our hackathon, our most valuable, our MVP for different releases. And then we also have our GitLab Heroes program. And this graph shows you how we've been able to grow the community over the last couple of years. And again, we're excited to always welcome students into our contributor community. So let's go ahead and jump into how you actually contribute to GitLab. So we have a contribution guide that we've built for our hackathons, but it's a great place to get started, even if you're contributing inside the hackathon or just as part of your class assignment. So let's go ahead and click on that, and it will take us to the homepage of how to contribute. And what we really want to mention here again is our values and our code of conduct are at the top. But then we have basically 6 different tracks, which are ways to contribute. There's development, documentation, translation, UX design, and then engagement and project templates. I would say these first 4 are actually, considered code contributions. And this is probably really what you're looking for your class assignment. And let's start off with documentation, because I think that one's a little bit easy to understand. So contributing to documentation is a great way to get started with the development process, meet reviewers and other community members. So you can fix anything from fixing typos all the way to organizing our documentation. There's a lot of different ways to contribute. And if this is what you're interested in, you can go ahead and click on more on contributing to documentation, and you'll be taken to another link here. And for each of these different tracks, there's specific directions. So that's a great tip, is to follow the directions that are associated with the track that you're interested in contributing to. So the first thing it says is to view the documentation issues that are curated specifically for new contributors. So this is really exciting in a way that we at GitLab really encourage new contributors to enter the community. So let's go ahead and take a look at that link as well. So we can click on that link, and notice here that this is our list of issues in the GitLab.org project. And we've set up a filter here by labels. So we've said label equals good for new contributors. Label equals accepting merge requests. That's important, because if it doesn't have that label, then it may be something that needs to be built, but that we're not ready to accept contributions for. Maybe we're still making decisions, or maybe there isn't a team of people who can review it at that time. So you want to look for both of those things. And then in this case, we're looking for documentation. And you can see here it's sorted by created date. And we can just go ahead and take a look at one of these. So allow registering an agent without a config file. Let's go ahead and open that up. And this is going to show you what the definition of done is, what the problem is to solve, some additional ideas, and some tips. And then you can see here that some people have kind of already been collaborating on here, and the scope is being more well defined, and there's been some movement here. So this is a great one to take a look at. And again, you can see here, good for new contributors, accepting merge requests. Some of the other things that you'll find are, for example, this has Kubernetes management associated with it. It's ready for development, backend documentation. Again, all of these labels really help guide you in terms of what it is that you'll need to contribute and kind of outlining what actually needs to be done. So we can go back here and we can also sort this instead of by the date created, you can sort it by weight. So if you're looking for something that, and I've just changed it to ascending, that is a little bit more lightweight, then you can sort by weight and see, okay, well, this one is accepting merge requests, good for new contributors, documentation, but then also in the vulnerability management category. So the labels really provide you a lot of information for what issues to choose. And then notice once you pick an issue that you'd like to work on in documentation, you want to mention GL-doc stream, and they're going to assign it to you. And if you happen to pick an issue that is already chosen, then you'll want to pick a different one. And the way that you know that is if there's an assignee. So you're going to want to make sure that an issue that you ask about doesn't already have an assignee, because if it does, then that indicates that another contributor is already working on that. So just to review here, check out good for new contributors label, accepting new merge requests label, and then the theme or the track is, in this example, documentation. And then you can sort it by weight to find issues that are going to be easier. All right, let's go back to our main page here. Oops, sorry about that. All right, let's go back to our main page here. Let's take another look at a different one. So development is really a little bit more into the code base in terms of fixing bugs or adding a new feature or helping with the review. And GitLab has a lot of different options for developers from all backgrounds. And let's take a look at this link here about more on contributing to development. Here we have a list of the top 10 projects to contribute to on GitLab. You can find the project, and then you can find the language and the technology that's required to contribute. And so this is a great way to look through this list and say, okay, well, I know a little bit of Ruby or CSS, and so this would be a great one for me to check out. And then you can also go ahead and look at this list of issues to work on. So let's just say that I want to go ahead and look at accepting merge requests sorted by weight. I can open that link. And here we have assigning equals none. And again, that means that a contributor in the community is not currently working on that one. So that's a great thing to look out for. And then this one is accepting merge requests. And you can see here we have it sorted by ascending. So here's some examples. Ensure intelligence works in conjunction with highlight.js. And again, there may be some other links here. There may be some questions. There may be some collaboration here. And so there's a lot of information on the issue. And if we go back to this page here, you'll see if you scroll down, there is actually a development guide. And this walks you through how to get set up to contribute to the code base. So you'll create a public fork of any GitLab project. You want to download and set up your development kit and your GDK README. And then you want to choose your issue to work on, and it explains all of the steps here. And then you can go all the way through to this guide. So this is really meant to help walk you through the process. And one thing that I want to point out as well is we already visited the documentation page. But here it's different. So there's a different set of instructions depending on what track that you're interested in contributing to. So I just want to make sure everyone is pointed back to that list. And then you can also work on translation if you know another language. That process is different as well. We are translating GitLab into 35 different languages, and we have more than 1,500 contributors who are working on that. So this is a really great way as well to work on contributing, but not necessarily to the main code. And then there's UX design. So there's a bunch of issues that are improving the user experience. And again, this is a different set of instructions. So I think this points back to why contribute to open source is that there's a lot of different places for you, depending on what your skill set and your interests are and the level at which you want to contribute. So we hope that this guide really helps you find that place that's appropriate for you to contribute. And again, I just put this in here because you'll have the deck and it kind of summarizes all of these different ways to contribute. We didn't talk too much about templates or the community, but we also wanted to make sure everyone is aware that you can create templates within the projects, and it may be an issue template or a repository template that really that is also contributing. And then in our community, there's a lot of different ways to get involved, from writing a blog post, hosting a meetup, engaging with the community, giving a presentation at one of our events. So all of these different things are ways to contribute. And again, for your class assignment, you may want to focus here at the top, which is where you're contributing code to the GitLab project. So I also put this screenshot in there as well, since I know that you'll have the slide deck. Remember to look for accepting merge requests and good for new contributors. Look for not assigned, and then also the category or the track. So documentation is a really good example. And then remember, if there's something that you see that you want to fix, you can always submit an MR without having a specific issue. We just recommend using the existing issues as a great place to get started. Next, the most important thing is where to get help. So we have a contributors Gitter channel, and we'll go ahead and open that up to show you what that looks like. And you can sign into Gitter to start talking, and you can see we have 839 people on our Gitter contributor channel. And a lot of these are GitLab heroes or community members or new contributors. You can see if we scroll up here, there's a couple students who have recently introduced themselves. And so this is a great place to get questions and ask for help and get up and get started. So we really encourage you to interact with contributors in the Gitter channel. We also have merge request coaches at GitLab. And merge request coaches are volunteers that work at GitLab who are designated as merge request coaches, and they watch the community contribution merge requests, and they are there to help. You can find them by going to the GitLab team page and searching for merge request coach. When you're working on an issue or in an MR, you can mention at gitlab.org-coaches, and that will alert any of the coaches that are in the MR coaches group to come and take a look at what you're working on. So that's another great way to get assistance. We also have an MR coach tutorial. And then reviewers and maintainers of those specific GitLab projects are listed here. So that's another great place to go and find people who are able to help. And then, as always, you can email us at contributors@gitlab.com. Although I will say, if you are used to working in GitLab, that's definitely the best way to reach us, is on the issues and the merge requests themselves or in our contributors Gitter channel. So again, just a couple tips, since you'll have access to this deck, make sure that you sign up for an account. You can do that with an existing, if you want to link an existing account. And then if you are working on a project that requires you to run CI/CD and you're on our free tier, you may be asked to enter a credit card to verify your identity. And we don't charge your credit card. It's just a way for us to prevent crypto mining. And there's a blog post here that explains everything about it. And so if you have any concerns or questions, definitely please take a look at that. We would love to see all of the students that are contributing. So if you could include student and then your university name in your GitLab bio, that will help us identify you. And it also helps our engineers know that you're a new student and you're coming to contribute, and to keep an eye out for you and make sure that you have a great experience. And then remember that you'll need to fork a project when you get started. So we also want to mention our GitLab Hackathon. It's a virtual event that's held once a quarter. We have one coming up around these dates. It's not exactly set yet, but keep an eye out in March. And it's open to anyone. There's no registration required. And you can work on these issues during the hackathon. And we have office hours, and we have sometimes we'll have meetups, and everyone is on high alert to watch out for people contributing and help you out. And so we have prizes awarded to everyone for having a merge request that was successfully merged. And there are other awards for each hackathon, some great GitLab swag. So we encourage you to keep an eye out and participate in the next hackathon in early March. And there is the hackathon landing page, and all the information you need to participate will be there on the hackathon page. We wanted to include some additional resources. So there's some slides and tutorials on those 3 different categories. And then if you're diving deeper into some of the code for the actual development of GitLab, the product, there are a plethora of resources on our GitLab.com YouTube Unfiltered channel. So we encourage you to take a look at that as well. And it's just really depending on the specific project that you're interested in contributing to. And then we want to make sure that everyone feels free to reach out to us. Christina, here, there's my Twitter and my LinkedIn profile. And then we also have PJ Metz, who is an education evangelist on our team. And PJ would love to connect with you on Twitter, LinkedIn. And he also hosts a Twitch show where he interviews different people around GitLab. So you can, maybe even meet on Twitch one of the merge request coaches. So, and then we wanted to show you also some resources here on our GitLab for Education page. This link tree will take you to an opportunity for us to come in and lecture to your class about DevOps. You can also learn more about the GitLab and Education program. We offer free Ultimate licenses. The benefit of that, there's a lot of different features in Ultimate, and also you don't have to worry about that credit card validation step if you join the education program. We have a team intro video here that tells you a little bit more about what we do. Lots of different ways to get involved. We have a GitLab forum where a lot of people ask questions about the product, meet each other, network. We have an education category there, so we encourage you to join that. Again, we can come visit your classroom. You can host a meetup at your university for people who are GitLab enthusiasts, and we'll help facilitate that. And also, we can help you find a speaker on whatever topic it is that you would like. So we encourage you to check that out as well. And then we've had many universities who have become very successful using GitLab, and we've documented a lot of what they're doing with some of our education case studies. So we encourage you to take a look at those and read a little bit more about how other universities are being successful with GitLab. Here's some of our Tanuki shows, and then just some other links and resources. So we thank you for your time, and we really look forward to welcoming you to the community, and also to see your contributions, and hopefully to see you in the platform. So please feel free to reach out, and we'll see you soon. Thanks for your time, and good luck with your assignment.